Snowbird is the biggest of the 4 resorts in the Cottonwood Canyons, just outside Salt Lake City. The resort has a respectable 2,500 skiable acres and receives over 500 inches of snow each year. Some years that can exceed 700, rivaling Japan. If you're a skier, there's the option to drop over into Alta for even more terrain. There is a limited range of lodging options at the base, but loads of options down the road in the city.
Snowbird has a few green trails on the lower mountain for beginners and a few blue trails scattered across the resort for intermediate skiers. The extent of black, double black and tree skiing zones makes this mountain an advanced skiers' playground. Beginners and less confident intermediate skiers will find themselves constrained to certain trails or areas. Advanced skiers will be more focused on avoiding lift queues in order to take advantage of what Snowbird has to offer.
Snowbird is roughly 45 minutes from the airport or half an hour's drive from the eastern suburbs of Salt Lake City when the road is clear. This can increase dramatically due to weather or traffic. On weekends or powder days, you'll need to leave early to avoid spending hours in traffic or even worse, not being able to park. Check UDOT for traffic and road conditions before you leave Salt Lake City.
There are numerous private transfer options from the airport to and from your lodging. There is also public transport up to Snowbird, but no dedicated transit lane, so the bus gets stuck in traffic. But this may be the only option when there are parking issues up the canyon. If you are driving, we recommend a 4-wheel or all-wheel drive, and you will need winter tires as required by Utah law.
Most of the parking at Snowbird is free, but requires strategic planning, especially on weekends and coveted powder days when the lots fill up early, potentially leaving you without a spot. Carpooling is rewarded with 3+ people guided to prime locations. For a parking guarantee, consider paid reservations or valet and book online.
The main base center plaza is an awesome structure with a distinct dystopian flavor. The facilities inside are well appointed and modern, with friendly staff who are welcoming. All required guest services including ski passes, rentals, lockers and ski school are available in the center plaza. There is also lift access from Creekside, so day visitors with passes don't need to go to the main center. If you are parked between the center and Creekside, there is a free shuttle that will take you to either base area.
There are only 2 on-mountain food options. The summit has a restaurant and cafeteria with spectacular views on a clear day. Mid-Gad is being overhauled but was a great mid-mountain venue, albeit very busy between 10 and 2. The center base area has a few food options while Creekside offers an alternative a little removed from the main crowds.
Let's get to the skiing. Snowbird is a playground for advanced skiers, while beginners will find themselves constrained to the lower slopes, and intermediates have limited options all across the resort.
For the first timer, Chickadee provides a secluded learning area away from the main ski traffic. Beginners venturing onto the mountain are limited to slow fixed grip lifts servicing the lower slopes like Miners Road and Middle Emma. There are a few trails like Alice Avenue and Thunder Junction off the Baby Thunder for the adventurous beginner, but you will need to level up to blue trails if you plan to experience any more of this resort. The Mini Miners Camp is a fun adventurous zone to entertain the kids.
For the intermediate skier, there is at least one blue trail off each of the express lifts, although some of them are traversing tracks that may test the nerves of less confident skiers. Banana and Election Blue Trails of GAD 2 provide winding trails away from the main ski traffic, great for building confidence and skills. Passackwoods and Emma are long trails that can be busy in certain sections. Chips Run is an epic long rolling blue, a must-do trail if visiting Snowbird. Over on Mineral Basin, there are a few enjoyable blues, but expect traffic on the lower sections as skiers are funneled towards the 2 lifts.
Advanced skiers will find trails and tree areas across the resort, but most of the technical skiing requires a traverse to access. For some bowl skiing, drop off path to Paradise onto trails like Lone Star and Nash Flora Lode. The lower sections like Geen Gully get quite technical. A traverse along bookends accesses some long steep trails, but there is a run out, so keep your speed at the bottom. On the front side, Regulator Johnson provides a taste of bowl skiing, while Shreen and Mark Malu Fork both lead into Goblin Gully, which is a bit of fun. It's possible to do quick laps on the upper slopes off Little Cloud if the lift isn't busy.
STH and Gadzooks off the GAD 2 lift are fairly straightforward blacks, while Black Forest and Organ Grinder provide a bit of excitement and some steep sections. There are some steep and technical trails under the tram like Upper Silver Fox and Upper Cirque. Taking Cirque Traverse, which is tricky in places and might have you burning a PTEX candle afterwards, gets you to some fantastic long technical trails like Dalton's Draw and Wilbur Bowl. Trails on the lower slopes like Blackjack and Route 4 gullies will make sure you've earned the rest on the tram ride back up.
There are a few short blacks off Gadzoom like Sneaky Pete and Carbonate, but the blue or green run out makes this lift more of a transfer route to the Little Cloud and Gad 2 lifts. If you want to get away from the crowds, Tiger Tail and Mozzarella Bowl are fun, while Tiny Tiger and Thunder Alley are even more secluded, but you'll be riding 3 lifts to get back up, including the slow Baby Thunder fixed grip.
There are no terrain parks at Snowbird, but the many gullies and rollers provide natural features across the resort for anyone looking for some aerial antics.
There are a few things to be aware of for Snowbird. Mineral Basin faces south, great for soaking up the sun on a cold January day, but it means the snow is sunbaked, and patrol must manage avalanche risks. The north-facing frontside tends to have better snow conditions. Snowbird has some years where more than 700 inches is received, which further impacts snow conditions on mountain and can make Little Cottonwood Canyon a coin flip between accidents or avalanches.
Getting stuck on the road for hours is not uncommon, while being trapped for a few days and sleeping in cots in the center is not unheard of. When this happens, staying on the mountain has distinct benefits, but don't anticipate much of the resort to be open after a massive storm. Expect early morning lift queues on the aerial tram, Peruvian, and Gadzoom, as these are the main lifts from the base.
On weekends and powder days, there's a queue for the tram almost all day. On occasion, we've used the slow mid-Gad lift because the queue for Gadzoom was horrendous. From mid-morning, the queue at Little Cloud kicks in, and when the weather is good, the queues for the Baldy and Mineral Basin lifts can be painful. The extent of terrain and volume of skiers serviced by a handful of lifts make lift queues the Achilles heel of Snowbird.
For the best mix of snow conditions and reduced crowds, late January into February is the best time to visit. But the resort is busy weekends and powder days all season. March brings epic snow, but it also brings the spring breakers.
It's worth noting snowboarders will find some of the traversing trails that access the steeps challenging. The rocks and mini rollers make holding your speed tricky, but it's a necessary evil as some of the best terrain is accessed this way. When the weather sets in, the Peruvian and Gad 2 lifts can be a little sheltered from the wind. Plus, the trees provide reference points to follow the trails in low visibility. On good days when everyone is over in Mineral Basin or on Little Cloud, these 2 lifts can have shorter queues. The best place to escape the crowds is across at Baby Thunder. The terrain is limited, but it's better to be skiing than queuing.
If you are driving up, keep an eye on the weather in UDOT as road closures are common. On weekends, leave extra early to avoid traffic and get parking, plus consider ending your day a little early to get home without hassle. If there's a storm rolling in, be prepared to call it a day before it arrives so you don't get stuck up the valley. Skiers on an Icon Pass or wanting to explore beyond Snowbird can ski across to Alta for added terrain and an escape from snowboarders. There are snowcat and heli skiing tours run from the resort for anyone looking to take full advantage of the epic Utah snow.
There are a few lodging options offered through Snowbird Resort, plus a number of private condos in the valley. Staying up in the valley is a lot more expensive than the options down in Salt Lake City, and availability is also an issue. Most private lodging is booked out months in advance. The ski in, ski out experience avoids the daily drive, but does come with a risk of being snowed in for a day or more.
There are a few restaurants in the resort base area and a couple of convenience stores in the main center. For major grocery supplies, a trip down the valley or an online delivery may provide more options. If you are staying a little further from base, there is a bus service in the village.
In our opinion, Snowbird is a resort for advanced and expert skiers who enjoy steep or technical terrain, along with some challenging trails for confident intermediates. The mix of bowl, trail, and tree skiing across the resort will test skills at every corner. Beginners will find the resort constrained and will need to step up to blues to see more than the lower slopes.
The weekend crowds and lift queues might frustrate some, while the potential of being snowed in for a few days may provide stories to tell friends and family for years to come. Snowbird is a resort full of surprises and likely to provide a ski experience hard to forget. Check out our trail and lift videos to get the most out of your visit to this resort.